She left the cabin in a paranoid state, wandered into the forest, and died alone in shallow water. How are you guys doing? I hope you're always doing well. On the night of October 17th, 2019, a 47-year-old woman named Ida Cantal stepped out of her family's wooden cabin in a rural area in Michigan. She went out to take a walk with her dog and smoke a cigarette. It was very late, around 1:30 a.m. That cabin was extremely isolated in the forest, about 800 meters away from the nearest neighbor. But she actually loved that isolation. It was surrounded on all sides by forests, swamps, and wild land. The strange part was that this environment made her feel safer than being in her main home in the crowded city of Detroit. The reason for that was that a few months earlier, while she was in Detroit, she had experienced a random attack. She was walking in the street in broad daylight when, out of nowhere, a man assaulted her, broke her nose, gave her a concussion, and then ran away. The terrifying part wasn't just the violence itself, but the fact that she didn't know him at all. He didn't rob her. There was no argument, no conflict, nothing. It was completely random, and the attacker was never caught. That incident destroyed Ida mentally and physically. Her health started declining, she lost her job as an engineer, and she became unemployed and deeply depressed. During that time, her uncle called her and told her he needed someone to go stay at the family cabin in the forest to prepare it for winter basic repairs and cleaning. He even offered to pay her for it. She accepted immediately. She was excited because it meant income, and also because it gave her a chance to return to a place she loved deeply. That cabin had been in the family for 75 years, and she had many childhood memories there. She saw it as a chance to escape the city, heal mentally, and recover from the trauma. For a full week, she stayed there with her boyfriend, cleaning and repairing the cabin. 2 days later, her boyfriend had to leave and go back to the city for work. So now she was alone, with only her dog. But for her, that was fine. She liked solitude, and the place didn't scare her at all. That night, however, she couldn't sleep. She was anxious and restless. About an hour earlier, she had taken a sleeping pill, but it didn't help. Her body felt uneasy and her mind was racing. So she decided to go for a walk with her dog. The roads around the cabin were narrow, winding, and completely unlit. The forest around was pitch black. Not exactly the safest place for a midnight walk, but she knew the area very well. On top of that, she had a 9mm handgun in her pocket for protection. After a while walking in the dark, the dog suddenly stopped at a tree. Ida stopped too, lit a cigarette, and waited. Then the dog froze. Its ears went up, it started growling, and it stared intensely into the darkness ahead. Ida raised her flashlight and pointed it in the same direction. In that moment, the beam revealed 2 glowing eyes staring back at her. At first, she understood exactly what she was looking at, a mountain lion. She tried to stay calm and slowly reached into her pocket to grab her gun. But before she could pull it out, the animal suddenly turned and ran back into the forest. She let out a breath of relief, grabbed her dog quickly, and headed back to the cabin. When she arrived, the cabin lights were still on. She had left them on before going out. She rushed up the small wooden steps, opened the door, went inside with her dog, and locked it behind her. She freed the dog from its leash, grabbed her phone, and texted her boyfriend about the mountain lion. Even though she felt safer inside, the tension didn't leave her body. After all, Just minutes earlier, she had been standing face to face with a wild predator. Then she heard something outside the living room window, a sound like branches breaking, like someone walking right next to the house. The cabin layout was simple. An open kitchen connected directly to the living room, and a staircase leading upstairs. From where she stood in the kitchen, she could clearly see the living room window. Inside the cabin, the lights were on. Outside, it was completely dark. The window reflected the interior like a mirror. If she wanted to see outside properly, she would have to press her face close to the glass. She moved slowly toward the window. She looked. Nothing. Total darkness. She stepped back, and her mind started playing tricks on her. Maybe it was the mountain lion. Maybe it followed her. But that didn't make sense. Mountain lions don't behave like that. She tried to convince herself there was nothing there. She took off her jacket, placed her things on the table, sat on the couch, turned on the TV, and tried to relax. After about 20 minutes, she started calming down. Then it happened again, another sound from the same window. This time she looked immediately, and despite the reflection, she could clearly see movement outside. This time it wasn't an animal, it looked like a man. She grabbed her gun from the coffee table, dove behind the couch, and shouted that she was armed and would shoot. No response, only silence. She hesitated and called her boyfriend, but he didn't answer. Then she called a friend and told her everything. Her friend said she would call the police, but Ida told her not to yet. She wanted to check first. So she crawled to the kitchen window, lifted her head slowly, and looked outside. Nothing. The entrance was empty. She laughed nervously, thinking she imagined it. But when she turned back to the living room, she froze. 2 men were standing outside the window, staring directly at her. Without thinking, she raised her gun. They raised theirs. Gunfire erupted. Glass shattered everywhere. She dropped behind the couch, convinced she had hit one of them. Her friend screamed over the phone. Then the call suddenly cut off. Now she was alone. She heard heavy footsteps upstairs. Someone was inside the cabin. Instead of running, she stood up and started walking toward the stairs with her gun. The police arrived about 30 minutes later. They surrounded the cabin expecting danger. Inside, it looked like a war zone, broken glass, bullet holes everywhere. But no one was there. No attackers. No bodies. Only her terrified dog. They searched outside. Nothing. No footprints. No blood. No escape route. Then they found her shoes, phone, and gun on the roof of the cabin. That made no sense. It suggested she climbed up or jumped, but there was still no trace of her. Search teams combed the forest. Nothing. Hospitals reported no gunshot victims. The case became a mystery. Some thought she staged it. Others thought she was kidnapped. Some even suspected her boyfriend. But all theories failed. He had a solid alibi confirmed by his stepson. No financial issues, no enemies, no motive. Ballistics showed only her gun was fired inside, but casings suggested multiple weapons. Weeks passed, then months. No sign of Ida until December 21st, 2019, when her family drained a nearby pond and found her body about 275 meters from the cabin in shallow water. No bullet wounds, no major injuries, no signs of struggle. Cause of death: hypothermia and drug intoxication. She had been taking medication for trauma, and that night she mixed sleeping pills, anti-anxiety drugs, and methamphetamine. The meth caused severe paranoia and hallucinations. The mountain lion was likely real. The men were likely reflections. The gunfight was likely her shooting at shadows. The footsteps were likely just sounds from the cabin. There were no attackers, no invasion, only a mind collapsing under fear, trauma, and drugs. She left the cabin in a paranoid state, wandered into the forest, and died alone in shallow water. And in the end, the danger was never outside. It was inside her mind all along.